Hello everybody, here we are on the Littlements. Even though we've been closed and we haven't had anybody working here for about 4 weeks now, lots of the planting and preparation that clients did on the Littlements before we closed, back in autumn and winter, mean that we've still got things growing here. So we've got some kale growing here, which some of you sowed. So that's been planted out. We've just got the one container of it, but that'll hopefully later on in the year keep us going in kale for quite a long time. Does need a bit of a weed though, so I'm saving those especially for Alistair. Moving along, leeks, really nice vegetable that's still growing strong. They probably need digging up and eating actually, looking at them. Strawberries in this one, just starting to come into growth now. And fairly soon, a couple of months, we'll have some fruit from those. And then lots of lovely rhubarb here, which some of you might remember planting a couple of years back. And even inside these tubs, which the Wednesday group would have put on with Amanda, that's called forcing rhubarb. And so you've got these nice long thin shoots that have been starved of light because they've been inside this tub. And that makes them nice and sweet and soft and tender. So that's the tasty stuff. That one I'm saving for Laura. We'll put that back on because what I wanted to show you, especially today, was planting potatoes. This is the perfect time to start planting potatoes because the weather is warming up. Lovely sunny day today, and we're probably not going to get any frost at least after another 2 or 3 weeks. So we can plant our potatoes, and by the time they start growing and come out from the ground, it will be nice and warm, which is exactly what potatoes like. And in your activity packs, you'll have got lots of things, including some wrinkly old looking potatoes like this. Now it's not for eating or making your chips out of, it's for planting. It's what we call a seed potato. So I'm just going to show you very quickly what you need to do to plant your potatoes to give you a nice good crop later on in the year. You can plant your potatoes in the ground, and if you do that you just need to find a bit of ground where you can take out all the weeds, make sure there's not any weeds that's going to get in the way of your potatoes growing, but then you can plant them exactly the same as I'm going to show you now. I'm going to do it in these nice raised beds that you guys made on the Littlements. So I've got this one nice and clear of weeds and ready to go. So if we just come in a little bit closer, camera woman, I've started planting mine. You can see I've just dug a hole and put my potato in. It needs to go in about 4 or 5 inches deep. So what's that, about 10 or 12 centimetres deep. And I'm going to do my next one here. So quite a nice way to remember, 4 or 5 inches is usually about the size of the spade bit of your trowel. So if you get a normal hand trowel, that's about 5 centimetres. So I want to dig, so I'm getting, so my potatoes going about, I said 5 centimetres, I meant 5 inches. Were you listening carefully? 5 inches, about 12 centimetres. I want to get it so my potato is, the top of the potato is about 4 or 5 inches deep. And now this is where you just need to have a look at your potatoes, because there is a right way round and a wrong way round. If you see on the top of the potatoes as I'm holding them there, you can see lots of little shoots that have started growing, just like they do when you leave your potatoes in a dark cupboard for too long. You get all those long white shoots. These have been left in the light, so they're not long and white, but these shoots are going to turn into your potato plant, and it's off these shoots when they grow longer that you're going to get all of your potatoes. Okay, so those need to be pointing upwards towards the sky. Okay, so I'm going to put this one, I've got my hole, which means I can get my potato about 4 or 5 inches deep below the surface, and I'm going to put it in there so the shoots are pointing upwards, and it's as simple as that. I'll cover that first one up as well. So that's 2 done. In here I'm going to plant them in a grid, and we need to plant them about 12 inches apart. So again, look at your trowel. Usually most trowels, unless you've got a really big trowel, most trowels are about 12 inches long from the top of the handle to the bottom of the spade part. Okay, so you can work that out roughly. I think this is a little bit big, so I'm going to put that handle where I've planted my first one, And then just a little bit short of the end of the trowel is where I want to put my next one. So that gives me 12 inches. So that's about 4 or 5 inches deep below the ground and about 12 inches apart. Okay. Now this one, I'm just checking again. I've got shoots pointing upwards, so it's got a funny one on the side. So I'll just put it at a bit of an angle, so both of them are kind of pointing upwards. And that's going to go in there and cover it over. So that's 3 done there, and I'm going to plant the rest in a grid in here. If you don't have a raised bed, or you don't have space in your garden outside to plant them straight into the ground, you don't need any big containers like this. You can use a compost bag. Okay, so exactly the same process. I've just filled the bottom of an empty compost bag with about 6 inches, about so much of compost. Okay, just at the bottom. And I'm going to take my potato, make sure I've got it the right way up, and I'm going to put that into the compost at the bottom. And then instead of having to dig a hole, I just need to cover that up with some more compost. So this is just ordinary multi-purpose compost. If you can mix in a bit of soil with your compost, if you're doing it in a bag like this, if you can mix in a bit of garden soil, that's even better, but that's not crucial. And what I'm doing is I'm just covering that potato over. I've run out of potatoes, but otherwise I would have 2 in here. I could probably fit 2 in there. Squeeze them a bit closer together if you're doing them in a bag like this. But I've just put the 1 in there and I'm covering it up. Can you remember how much I've covered it up in the ground? That was about 4 or 5 inches, wasn't it? So exactly the same in the bag. You just want about 4 or 5 inches of compost on the top. But with this method, what you can do is, once those shoots start growing, you'll see nice green shoots coming up from the compost. And when the shoots get a decent size, again about 4 or 5 inches, about 10, 12 centimetres, something like that, that's the shoot. What you can do is carry on filling up your bag so that you recover your shoots. And so you're layering up the compost, so you recover, so every time the shoot grows up, you're recovering it. And then you can see I've rolled this the side of the bag down. Obviously, as you fill it up with compost, you just need to unroll the side of the bag, and as the potato grows, you can just keep rolling it up until your bag is almost full, basically. And the reason you do that is the more you bury, the more of the plant you bury, the more chance the plant has got to make more potatoes. Okay? And you can even do it just in a tub like this if you want. So this is a tub, it's about 30 centimetres, about 12 inches square, and you could probably squeeze 2 potatoes in there. Whichever way you do it, what we're going to do is we're going to have a competition, and we're going to see how many potatoes everybody can grow. You've all got the same amount of seed potatoes, same amount of potatoes that you're starting with. However you do it, we're going to see who can grow the most potatoes. And when we all come back to Flower Pod, hopefully you can all bring in a nice big sack of potatoes and we'll count them all. But anyway, enjoy potato planting. I hope you get lots and lots, and see you all again very shortly.